Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Woo Sanctuary. Welcome to Wallaby Wonders if you're watching on Rumble, and welcome to Delphi Dawn if you're watching on YouTube. It's time for an I Ching reading, and we'll throw in a couple of oracles. Now, normally I would ask the sage, what does the collective need to know? But when I was doing my pre-reading reading about what to read for the collective, the sage didn't want to do that question, because I actually clear the questions, the books and the decks before we go. So this time, and I felt a real pull to come and do a reading, this time the sage wanted to talk about, here's the topic, 2025 overview, lessons at hand. So that's what we're going to have a look at today, and I've got no idea, of course, what's going to come out. I did throw the dice just to get a, and I pulled one card just to sort of get a flavour before I started. And the dice number I got was 10, which in the book I'm using relates to something lost is found. And the card I pulled was thinking of you. So to me, that gives me the feeling straight away I got that something that you thought maybe you'd lost forever or had lost for a very long time comes back, whether it be a friend or a group of friends or an opportunity, a dream, even literally an item, a physical item that you thought you had lost, or important document just came to my mind. But the first thought was return of an old friend, and possibly even a return of an old friend in a new form. For some of you who have lost pets or something like that, you might have a pet come back in a new body. But the most obvious one was return of an old friend, someone who's from another part of your life, or an activity, a dream from another part of your life coming back in. So that was a good place to start, a nice optimistic place, particularly as so many people have lost so much during 2024 and are continuing to lose material things, and even people or animals dear to them, things dear to them, in the beginning of 2025, what with the fires, and some people are under attack in their home countries, unfortunately. Some people are affected by floods and other kinds of natural disasters. There's also, there's forever things happening. That's nothing new in the news. There's always been mega events, but there has been a lot of it. And what with the instability in the world, I wouldn't be surprised at all if it just continues. But there is no loss in mind. That's one thing I learnt somewhere along the way. And so nature deplores a void. Where you've lost something, it gives the opportunity for something else to come back or something new to come in. So even if you lose something that seems to be quite crucial, there's always an opportunity that comes with it. That may seem like cold comfort to people who are feeling the pain of a loss right now. I certainly felt a lot of loss during 2024. I don't want to minimize that in any way, but do take heart that what's truly yours can never be lost forever. It's a part of your energetic field, and will tend to, you will tend to attract the same kind of things over and over, so long as you're an energy match to them. Okay, so we will throw some coins first and see what the I Ching has to say, and then we'll pull some cards. So I've got my 3 coins here. Dear Sage, for the highest good of all, for the viewer especially, please let us know for the 2025 overviews, the lessons at hand that we all need to learn as a collective, or that the viewer watching this channel needs to learn, that's going to guide us towards our highest timeline for the ultimate harmony in the bigger picture of things. Now, if you're watching, you can feel free to add your extra layer of prayers if you would like. I consider the whole communal session of talking to the Sage, also known as the Most High, to be a prayer of sorts, because we're opening ourselves for guidance. Yes, anything that is not for the highest good of all is blocked and stopped and sent back to where it belongs. So, Sage, please speak for the Oracle. 2 of coins for the collective watching this video. Okay, so I've got 2 tails and a head. That's so tails are worth 2 and a head's worth 3. So that's 7, which is a yang line. I won't go too much into instruction. Maybe I'll do a separate video for that for people, if anyone's interested. I'll do an instructional video. But if anyone wants to learn the I Ching, there are instructions in most books at the beginning to tell you how to throw the coins, how to score. Once you get a hang of it, it's not too hard. Okay, so 3 heads, that's a moving yang line. 9. 2025 overview for the collective, lessons at hand. What do we need to learn? And same again, moving yang line. 2025 overview, Sage, lessons at hand for the collective. Okay, again, well, we've already got a lot of movement in this hexagram, so there's a lot of things changing. Some things have already reached their peak yang, which is why they will change to yin. And I can see that already. Okay, 2 more. Okay, now we have a yin line, stable. And now we have a stable yang line. So we have hexagram 14. I'll hold it up to the camera so you can see it. A second. But it's got 3 moving lines, so it's changing. So I'll just put that in there as well. What it changes to is hexagram 27. Now, if you're learning I Ching, you will look at this up in the chart in the back or the front of the book and work out which lines change to which hexagrams which by checking out the trigrams on the chart, and you line it up, and it's this whole thing. But I've been reading I Ching for a long time, at least 25 years, so I just know them off by heart. I can just tell by looking at it. So we've got hexagram 14 and hexagram 27. Just hold it up to the camera for you. And hexagram 14 has 3 moving yang lines. There we go. That's what we've got. Now, hexagram 14 is usually called something like great possession, and 27 is usually called something along the lines of nourishment. So great possession can also be called wealth. Nourishment's nearly always called nourishment, I think, or something like that. Is that the only 2 hexagrams for us, Lord? No. Okay, so another hexagram is called for. I'll throw that now so that I'll do that one in a different colour pen so it doesn't get too confusing. Alright. So, second hexagram or hexagram set for the collective. 3 yin lines, which is a moving... 3 yin coins, which is a moving yin line. Okay, now 3 yang lines, that's a moving... 3 yang coins, that's a moving yang line. Now I've got 2 yins and a yang, that's 3, 6, 8, that's a yin line. Odd numbers are yin, even numbers are yin, and odd numbers are yang. So when you add up the coins, if it's an even number, so I've got 2, 4, 7, that's a odd number, so that's a yang line. 2 more to go. Okay, 3, 6, 8, that's a yin. And now we have a yang line. So we've got hexagram 64. And it's got 2 moving lines. Okay, alright, so that changes to hexagram 21. Just draw it up for you so you can see. Got hexagram 64 and 21 for the second set. I think that should be enough for one session. I'm not going to even ask the sage till we get through this. If there's more, I think the sage knows I've only got a certain amount of hours in the day. Now I did get very simple interpretations this time under the sage's guidance, so there won't be pages and pages of reading like some readings that we do. Okay, so let's see. The second set of hexagrams, 64 and 21. 64 is before the end and 21 is gnawing through. Alright, so we'll start with hexagram 1, which is 14, is all about great possessions and you have a lot of wealth, basically, whether you realise it or not. And that's not just material wealth, that's all kinds of wealth, like emotional, physical, spiritual, wealth of opportunity. And because the hexagram next to it is 27, which is about nourishment, then there's something to do with wealth of nourishment. So maybe it's a good opportunity to learn something or a good opportunity to focus on your nourishment, or that there is wealth in nourishment. There's so many ways that could be interpreted. But I'm going to say that nourishment is going to be an issue. That to have good nourishment is wealth. And nourishment as a hexagram isn't just talking about physical nourishment. It talks about emotional, psychological and spiritual nourishment as well. And it's talking a lot about paying heed to what kind of things or what you're taking in, basically. How you're nourishing yourself on every level. So let's have a read of hexagram 14. So you get the traditional. Now we've got it's been recovered by my beautiful friend Gabby, but this book is the I Ching by Blofeld, which is a very traditional and simple interpretation, but it's written in old worldly language, so it's very close to, it's not like a modernized one, so you get the beauty of the old-fashioned language. Let's see what it has to say about 14. Great possessions. He who possesses much, supreme success. So, and this is in our overall question is about lessons, right? So it's probably going to do about wealth management. And that's just not, it's not just physical wealth, it's wealth on all levels. So it's the management of your wealth. And it's a great place to start off, is that you have something worth managing, that you have great wealth. So that's just an, you know, like, it's a great way to start. Like, it's better than having to learn problems of hardship or obstruction or something like that. So these are kind of great problems to have, great lessons to have, but, you know, they can be tricky. So let's see what it says anyway. He who possesses much, supreme success. Commentary on the text. Here, the yielding, so that's a feminine receptive energy, obtains a place of high honor and respect. Okay, so there's an elevation of the feminine, the elevation of receptivity, of being pliable, flexible, gentle, nurturing, all those traditionally feminine qualities, or yin, let's just say yin qualities. So, and the reason it says that is because in this hexagram 14, shot to you again, there's 5 lines that are yang, and there's only this one yin line here. This line here is the yin line. So, and that is, the yin line is in the central place of command, which is interesting. So, even though there's male energies all around the yin line, in hexagram 14 here, this position here is the commanding position. So she's boss. And now this doesn't have to be related to gender at all. It's talking about energies. So it's saying that even though you may be surrounded by all this yang energy, and some of it is peak yang, there's 3 moving yang lines here. The lines change or move. When they reach their peak, they flip to their opposite. So excuse me, the fact that there's 3 yang lines there at peak, that's like a lot of really full-on yang energy. And because there's so much of it, I guess it's no surprise that this dignified, yielding yin energy actually rules the situation. And I'm just getting a picture of, like, if you had a bar and there was 5 guys in the bar, and 3 of them are strutting around, because that peak yang is a bit almost like roostery kind of energy. Or, you know, the you can use any analogy what you would like of it, you know, extreme yang, or male principle, male qualities, male energy, sun. Yeah, actually 3 yangs in, that's also like peak yang, could be like something like fires, like what's happening now, like fire on the move, because it's so much yang, it's so hot, active, just very, very active, very doing, very on the move. So back to the analogy anyway, if you were in a bar and there was 5 guys, 3 of them strutting around, let's just say this is a heterosexual situation, not to confuse the analogy, and one woman walks in, and let's say she's reasonably attractive, then she is going to command that whole room. Now, that's just a really basic example of it, because, I mean, you know, all the guys are going to compete to win her favour if they're single. So she, even though she may be surrounded by these energies that are seemingly stronger than her, she actually holds the power to choose to yield to this man or that man, or, you know, to affiliate with this yang energy or that yang energy, to take advice on, or, you know, have this yang or that yang at the right and left side, whatever. This yin energy, so it can manifest as a person, but it can also just manifest as a, say for example, it doesn't have to be a woman, it could just be a man who's very good at being yielding, flexible, empathetic, just all those kind of nurturing yin qualities. So it's not about gender, although it very often the Yi Jing is literal. It's not metaphoric, it's often literal, but it doesn't have to be literal. So it could be either way, but the yin is in the position of the ruler, the yielding qualities. So I was just explaining why, where were we? The yielding obtains a place of high honour and respect. For this yielding line, line 5, occupies the more important of the places central to the component trigrams. Okay, so there's two trigrams, and there's a upper and lower trigram. So the upper trigram, in a hierarchical sense, dominates over the lower trigram, and the one in the middle is the leader. It's slightly different very different in Eastern culture, who's the leader. It's not necessarily like a dominating thing where the leader gets on top and puts the orders downwards. It's more like being at the head of a circle of a council of elders or something like that. But anyway, so say there was an upper house and a lower house, or two councils of elders or something. On the upper house, the upper trigram, the yin energy, the yielding yin, and this is a balanced one, obviously one that's manifesting in its light side, not in its shadow side. So the yielding yin obtains a place of high honour and respect. So it's not just having the position, but it's actually people appreciating and honouring and respecting this yin energy in the position in the ruling place. The yielding line 5, occupies the more important place essential to the component trigram, and all the other lines accord with it. So they follow. It's not that the yin forces the way, they just are in accord. All the yang elements around this yin just willingly follow, we'll just say, her lead. It doesn't have to be a female, but we'll just use that because it's the simplest way of doing it. So all these guys are going to follow this yin lady, not because she rules with an iron fist like Margaret Thatcher or something, but just because what they want is fully in accord with what she is suggesting or offering or embodying. Okay. Therefore, it is called great possession. Its virtues are firmness, strength, and cultural achievement. Because it is responsive to heaven and performs all things at the proper time, it wins supreme success. So that's talking about that yin line. So the person in this position, in the commanding position, will have the virtues of firmness, strength, and cultural achievement, and will be very responsive and will be responsive to the will of heaven, particularly. So a good relationship with God or the cosmos, the universe, whatever you want to call the sage. I like to use the sage because a bit of trauma from religious people when I was a child. So sage works for me. So the yin line is responsive to the will of God, will of the sage, the will of the cosmos, is very receptive and tuning into cosmic timing and, you know, to be led by these higher verities, these good principles. And that this yin energy who has all these virtues will be supremely successful. Okay. This hexagram symbolizes fire in the heavens. The superior man suppresses those who are evil and upholds the virtuous. Most gladly, he accords with heaven and carries out its commands. Okay, so we've got moving lines number 2. It says 9 for the second place. There are a large supply of wagons. Now I'm just going to, it's got a little note here and I'm going to go to the notes, the footnotes, and see what it says, why we've got a footnote on wagons. I think it's a military thing. Okay, where is it? Here we go. Apparently we need not fear failure through lack of resources. Okay, so don't worry about having the resources because heaven's putting its resources at your use to do heaven's work, not to go and what's that word? Flounder? That's not the word. I've forgotten the word. But just not to spend in a silly way. Maybe if you know the word I'm looking for, you can write it in the comment there. You waste your money. Okay, so there's a large supply of wagons. If there is some desired goal or destination, setting out to attain it will involve no error. So there you go. It's giving you the green light to go ahead with your desired goal or destination, which is very encouraging. Excuse me. This line indicates that some place where supplies have been accumulated will escape from danger. Well, that's good to know. So I guess it's also bringing to awareness the idea that you actually do need to have a place where your supplies are safe from danger, but not to worry about there being enough supplies. So you're protected. The person watching this reading, your resources and safety of your resources is protected. The line indicates that there is some place where supplies have been accumulated will escape from danger. Well, that's very good to know. Okay, so you've got the next line you got is line 3, 9 for the third place. A prince may win rewards from his emperor, but this is beyond an ordinary man's power. Commentary. This passage means that the little man would only harm himself in the attempt. So it's saying don't try things that are beyond your skill set too far. But it's not, well, maybe it's not so much about the skill set, but about your moral character. It's like having the little man. So the little man, by the little man, it means a man of not much character and fortitude. It doesn't mean physical size. It means small-minded and petty. So a man who's small-minded and petty won't win great rewards. from his emperor, from his superior, let's say. Excuse me. So if you want to win the rewards, you must be big-hearted and high-minded and of sound character, because the person who is not a sound character is not going to win those rewards. They're there to be won, but only through the coming correctly. Then you have nine for the fourth place. Pride is not involved, no error. This passage implies the possession of a very great discriminatory powers. Okay, so you have the discernment. You're not doing whatever you're doing out of pride and ego. You're doing it because it needs to be done, because it's a good thing, because it's the right direction, whatever. You're not doing it for the wrong reason, so there will be no error. Okay, I just saw a couple of footnote things here. I'll just look them up. This passage means the little man would only harm himself in the attempt. Okay, number 5 here. This omen suggests that a goal can be won only by someone very powerful or distinguished. Others would be well advised not to attempt it. So yeah, don't attempt something out of your league, basically. If you are to go for a modest goal that's within your reach, you're bound to be successful if you use your discrimination and all those qualities we already talked about with discernment. And the next footnote was, such is the power to recognize how very little of our success is really due to our own merits. Okay, so it's just reminding you of grace, I guess. Okay, so I'll read also from this one, which is a Christian interpretation. No, we've got a lot of people who would like to know that interpretation, so we'll do that. Possession in great measure. So this is the Christian interpretation of the same hexagram by Dr. Joseph Murphy. The Lord thy God shall bless thee in all thine increase, and all the works of thine hands. Therefore thou shalt surely rejoice. Deuteronomy 16:15. Whatever you do will excel in a magnificent way. Well, encouragement. And there are lessons that come with success. We actually did talk about this a couple of readings ago, about how you might have so much success that you need to learn to manage your success. You might actually have to hire someone. You might have to hire help, or hire a space to do your successful thing in, or something like that. Somewhere to put the inventory or whatever. So, because remember that this whole reading is about the overview of the lessons. So it seems to be a lesson in enjoying your success. Like, there's a lesson in enjoying. Maybe if you're used to if you're used to struggling a lot, then success can be quite challenging. You might think, when am I going to wake up and find out that this is all a dream? It's not a dream. This is real. You're going to have to get up and be successful again tomorrow and the day after. You may have to adjust your routines to cope with this success, and the discipline needed to manage all of the opportunities and wealth that you're going to attain. Okay, so the image. The mouth of the righteous speaketh wisdom. Psalms 37:30. Wisdom is the conscious awareness of the presence and power of God within you. Give all power to God, the supreme intelligence within you, and be absolutely refuse to give any power to negative thoughts or to any person, place or thing. Aspire only to that which is lovely and of good report. And your moving lines are 9 in the second place. Cast thy burden upon the Lord, and he shall sustain thee. So yes, once again, the cosmic helpers are coming. Whatever you need, the resources, if you need a truck to carry your stuff from A to B, whatever it is, it's all going to be provided. Don't worry about the resources aspect too much. Like, it's the God's going to carry you. Psalms 55:22. Find the rock of strength within yourself. The kingdom of God is within you. So that's twice in a matter of moments that we've been reminded that God is with you, in you, and the kingdom of God is within you, which is probably a good thing to remember if you've just lost something, like your home or anything. If you've lost anything, the whole kingdom of God is within you. So in that sense, you still have it all, because what you see outwardly is the outpicturing of your energetic vibration and your thoughts, and it's the outpicturing of the hologram within. So you still have your father's house, and your father's house has many rooms. So don't be too concerned. So, find the rock of strength within yourself. The kingdom of God is within you, and you will find it a tower of strength as you become conscious of it. This infinite power continuously moves through you and all those connected with you, and this power enables you to transcend all barriers in the accomplishment of your purposes. So, God will help you to accomplish all of this. All you need to do is go within, tap in to the God within. 9 in the third place. As having nothing, yet possessing all things. Corinthians 6:10. God possesses all things. You are a steward of the divine, and you should use your talents and riches wisely, judiciously, and constructively. Recognize God as the source of your supply and give all honor and glory to the source of all blessings. The rich young man spoken of in the book of Mark, chapter 10, was a man rich in preconceived opinions, false beliefs about God, life, and the universe. His mind was cluttered with false beliefs about disease, and he was afflicted with lack and limitation of all kinds. Divest yourself of all false beliefs and false dogmas, and believe in the living God who gives us richly all things to enjoy. Timothy 6:17. Then you have 9 in the fourth place. Let all your things be done with charity. 1 Corinthians 6:14. Charity envieth not. So if you're envying, you're not in charity. 1 Corinthians 13:4. Wish success and happiness for everyone. You are unique. There is no one in all the world like you, as God never repeats himself. Realize that God is the source of all things, and that you can go within yourself, claim your wealth, and your subconscious will respond accordingly. You receive nothing except by right of consciousness. You must possess the mental equivalent of it. So you can't really lose anything that you have the mental equivalent of inside. It will, I mean, even if you appear to lose, it will reformulate or another one will come through. I know. Kind of like the Terminator, but the Lifeinator. Just keep reforming in a fashion that is full of life and goodness and creativity and abundance. Okay, so it changes to hexagram 27, which is nourishment, literally jaws. Okay, so, and I'm just noticing here, the other hexagram we've got later on, hexagram 21, is also about teeth and jaws and eating and nourishment. So there's an issue here. It's a bit of a focus point. Pay attention to your nourishment. Make sure you've got enough supplies. And it implies that there's no problem in getting the resources, but maybe you need to gather them somewhere. A little bit of a store of food somewhere or something like that, because they're out of healthy food, because there is so much focus around what you're taking in as nourishment. And it will be not just food too. You might want to focus on nourishment of all kinds, like making sure that you have good spiritual nourishment around you and good emotional nourishment, good creative nourishment, educational nourishment, and whatever kind of nourishment that you may need. You want to check in at different levels and see if you've got the nourishment that is appropriate for you at this time, that it's of a high quality. Okay. Nourishing. Righteous persistence brings good fortune. Watch people nourishing others and observe with what manner of things they seek to nourish themselves. It's got a footnote there, so we'll just look at that. For this will teach us a lot about their... This writing is really small. This will teach us a lot about their characters. So a very easy way to see what kind of a person someone is to watch what they nourish themselves with. Commentary. Persistence brings good fortune to those who nourish themselves on what is fitting. The rest of the passage means that we should observe what people give to nourish others and also what kind of things they choose for their own nourishments. So there's a little subtlety there. It's not just watching what they nourish themselves with, but if they are, giving themselves good nourishment and giving other people not very good nourishment, like that says something about their character. Or if they're looking to nourish others with very high quality nourishment, and who they leave in and out of the nourishment that they choose to give as well is another indicator of character. The celestial and terrestrial forces give nourishment to all. The holy sage nourishes everybody from those who are truly worthy to the people as a whole. The timely application of this hexagram is of the highest importance. Okay, so it's saying that you need to make nourishment a high priority this year. And observing all this stuff about nourishment and people's characters in terms of what they choose to nourish themselves with. Not just in terms of food, but the whole kit and caboodle. So, this hexagram symbolizes thunder rumbling at the foot of a mountain. The superior man is thoughtful in speech and frugal in his eating and drinking. So it's a warning against overspending or overindulgence. All right, that's good. So hexagram 27 from Joseph Murphy's interpretation, the Christian interpretation. The corners of the mouth providing nourishment. So our lessons this year are something to do with providing nourishment. Okay, so not just for ourselves, but those around us, and observing what other people are nourishing themselves with. Okay. The corners of the mouth providing nourishment. Above, King keeping still mountain. Below, the arousing thunder. The judgment. For the Lord giveth wisdom, out of his mouth cometh knowledge and understanding. Proverbs 2:6. The mouth of God is the mind of man. Your mind should be fed with wisdom, truth and beauty, faith and confidence, and inspiration from on high. This is the right food for your mind. Fill your mind with the truths of God, and you will crowd out of your mind everything unlike God. Be critical and selective of what enters your mind, and make sure it is wholesome and true. So it's a lesson to pay attention, because remember, this whole reading is about what our lessons are in this year. So I'd say if you don't pay attention, then you may learn the hard way, and if you do pay attention, you'll learn the nice way. So be critical and selective of what enters your mind, and make sure it is of wholesome and true. As you continue dwelling mentally on the truths of God, you will experience great blessings. But the thunder of his power, who can understand? Job 26:14. Thunder in the Ching and in our Bible means the quickening of spirit in you, i.e., you begin to think, speak, and act from the standpoint of the Infinite One, and your speech and expressions are based on wisdom, truth, and love. Whatever you say to others should help, encourage, and inspire them. So there's a big lesson in watching your words and only saying that which is good and true. Alright, so the next set of hexagrams, 64 and 21. So 64 is usually called something like before the end, I think. Or is it after the end? It might be after the end. Oh, here we go. According to Blofeld, it's before completion. Okay. Before completion, success. Before the little fox has quite completed its crossing of the ice, its tail gets wet. No goal or destination is favourable now, which seems to contradict what the first hexagram said. So we'll have to unpack that a little bit. It might be about proceeding in the right manner. Let's just check out what that footnote said about getting its tail wet. The fox getting its tail wet means this implies that we are to expect a setback in our plans. Okay. So before the little fox has completed its crossing of the ice, it gets its tail wet. No goal or destination is favourable now. Okay, so what that's implying to me is that it's like an apparent setback, that, you know, you just go backwards a little bit before you go way forwards. It's that little retracing of your steps, or holding back, or a little hiccup at the beginning of something before you go forward unhindered. Okay. And there's also a thing about being careful when you're crossing the ice, not to drop your tail in the ice at the last minute and get your tail wet. Alright, so, but that's more the previous hexagram, I think. We'll keep reading anyway. This hexagram presages success because of the yielding line. So it's still got that same yin energy in the same place. I'll show you. That's interesting. In fact, it's in 3 of the 4 hexagrams is the same at the top. So all the change is happening in the lower levels. The upper levels seem to be fairly stable, but I'm trying not to set myself on fire as I lean on these candles here. Okay, so see that one there, that one there, that one there, and that one there. They're all the same with the broken line in the middle and the 2 yang lines either side. So it's like this situation here is pretty constant throughout the year with the yielding yin in the commanding seat. So it's kind of like the Queen runs the show all year for some reason. Well, not the Queen, but the yielding yin line is the ruler. Whether she's acknowledged as the ruler or not, she is the ruler. So, and that can be seen or unseen, but the yin energy is in the commanding position. To me, this just means that that's what's going to be needed and important, and that's going to be the key to, things running smoothly this year, is to put all those yin qualities in the commanding seat and let the yang. It's like just letting the yin energy be the boss of the house and let all the yang energies work for the yin, because their goals are in accord. It's just like letting mum be boss in the house kind of thing, because mum knows best. How do you think she got this far? But there's a lot of movement in the lower parts of the organisation. So the top is fairly solid. But there's all these... if it was chakras, then it would be like the yin is around here somewhere, in the ruling position, around your mouth, I guess, and your heart, and around here. And so all the movements going on sort of below the heart chakra, below the solar plexus. So it's all root chakra stuff that's in flux. But the goals and the state of mind is fairly consistent on top. I hope that makes some sense to you. So it's like your basic who you are and what you're doing is not really changing. But the place in which you do it may change. There may be practical details and lots of comings and goings on the sort of more mundane level, but on a higher level, your goal remains the same, and the same yin energy is going to dominate this year. As you know, that's because back again, we're into 2025 overview lessons at hand. So it's learning to let this is our lesson. It's obviously a very big part of our lesson, is learning to let this yin quality be the boss and have all the yang qualities in service of that yin quality, which is, this is just everything in the I Ching is continuously changing, like the universe. Like energy transforms, but you don't lose it. So the energy keeps moving. It can't be stagnant. But so this is just how it is for now. That's what the universe needs to do to balance things out. If it threw the hexagrams at a different time, it might put yang in the commanding seat, but it's not. At this time, yin in the commanding seat is what stabilizes and harmonizes the situation. So if in doubt, making a decision, should I do this or that, then tune into yourself and, like what would the regal feminine suggest in this situation? A balanced, harmonious, wise, regal, benevolent feminine. What would she do? And do that. And put all your yang troops in service of that ideal. Now, once again, it's not about gender, it's about energy. It's about following that yin, receptive, yielding, gentle, nurturing energy. You can't grow babies without yin energy. Let's put it that way. It has a very important place. If you don't honor the yin, then you don't get babies. So, pay attention, all yang energies out there. If you want the world to continue to produce babies, then you need to have a nice nest for your regal feminine. And that is not just to do with actual people making babies or animals making babies, which, it's very much a practical thing as well, but it's also the just the whole aspect of creation, whether you're creating babies or movies or cars or gardens or houses, whatever, money, whatever it is that you want to create materially, and same in terms of spiritual nourishment or whatever. At this time, the universe is telling you that you need to put in the commanding seat. Learn to put this yin in the commanding seat. That the yin ideals in the position of power for the time being. It won't be forever. We've only framed it as 2025. We didn't frame it as a decade or 100 years or 200 years or 1 week or 1 day. It's this is the lesson for this year. Is this regal feminine needs to be in the commanding seat. And this is in our own psyche and in our own hearts. And I can see how this would be a challenge for me, because when I want to get things done, I can tend to lead with a lot of yang energy. But it's saying, no, that's not how you manifest right now. If you want to manifest this year, you've got to be receptive. You've actually got to know that all good is actually coming to you, and relax and let all these yang lines bring it to you. All these yang lines are going to bring it to the Queen. Now, all she has to do is sit on her throne, be balanced and wise and be benevolent, and nourish all those yang lines. So all those yang lines are also, they're all feeding off this yin. So they all have to, it's Queen Bee. It's Queen Bee. It's all about the Queen Bee this year. The Queen Bee within and without. All these worker bees need to bring honey to the Queen, sort of thing. And the Queen will give them all the babies they need. But this could be, this could be in business. This could be in the garden. It could be having babies. It could be spiritual insight or creative insights. It could be anything, but the manifestation power is coming from that feminine receptive energy being the most important thing that all these yang energies have to serve. For now. That's the lesson for now, or one of them. Okay, so where were we? This hexagram presages success because the yielding line, line 5, occupies the central position in the upper trigram. That the little fox does not quite complete its crossing before getting its tail wet indicates that we have not yet succeeded in getting beyond the middle of the matter forming the subject of our inquiry. So we're not halfway through this lesson yet. whatever lesson this is that we're learning, we've only just begun. And which is no surprise really, because we were asking about 2025 and I'm recording this in January, mid-January. So it's no wonder that we're not even halfway through it. But it does give me the impression that we're continuing to deal with something that's a spillover from before, because it's already started. So it indicates we have not yet succeeded in getting beyond the middle of the matter forming the subject of our inquiry. The wetting of its tail and absence of any favourable goal or destination imply that our affairs cannot be pushed through to completion. You see? That's why you have to lead with the yin. So yin is receptive, yang is pushing. So it's saying you can't push this thing to conclusion. You have to receive it to conclusion. You have to make the energetic match and let the universe bring it into you rather than going out and hunting it down. It's like use a net, not an arrow. That's it. Catch your prize with a net, not an arrow. You're being receptive. It's basically like making a nice nest with a nice secure thing and then letting all the supplies be brought into the nest. Although the nest may need to be able to be moved, so it's almost like having a mobile home or something. But this is psychological. It's really a metaphor. It's an analogy. So I guess there's a nest in your consciousness, a receptive place where the wisdom of Mother, Father, God can come in and inspire you and bring in the manifestation, whether it be in physical terms or just in terms of the right idea in the right timing. So our affairs cannot be pushed through to completion. So there is a way that our affairs are promised supreme success, but you can't push it to happen. You have to put yourself in harmony with the success and let the success land in your lap, let's say. The firm and yielding lines, although not appropriately placed, accord with one another. This hexagram symbolizes fire above water. The superior man takes care to distinguish between things before arranging them in order. So it's a message about discernment a lot, which will come up again in a minute, because the next hexagram 21 is all about making judgment calls. So where were we? 64. Now I'll read 64 from the Joseph Murphy book. Take us the foxes, the little foxes that spoil the vines. Song of Solomon 2:15. The meaning of the root of the word fox in the I Ching and in the Bible is a burrower. A fox burrows in a hole or tunnel in the ground. You must not permit fear, worry or doubt, foxes, to burrow into or hide in or even gain entrance into your mind. So it's talk about being guardian at the gate of your own consciousness and being very careful what you allow into the nest, in this nest, what you allow in. You must not permit fear, worry or doubt, foxes, to burrow into or hide in or even gain entrance into your mind. Because if you entertain these foxes, they will spoil the vines, the good things of life. Fear, worry and doubt set up obstacles, difficulties and failures in your life. Begin to listen to the truth and affirm boldly, God is my guide and my counselor. I have no fear, for God is with me. God is the only presence and the only power. I am now moving forward in divine order at the right time and in the right way. I am at peace. When you're at peace and your confidence is restored, you can then move forward. Right, so this was the thing about the fox moving too quickly. It's like if you try and rush forward and you haven't got the right attitude, the right idea, the right heart space, head space, whatever, the right guidance, then it's gonna stuff up and you're gonna go backwards before you go forwards. So when you're at peace and your confidence is restored, then you can move forward. To begin with fear is to end with failure. To begin with faith in God is to end in success. The image. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Proverbs 3:6. Before any journey or undertaking, be it what it may, always begin with God and assert feelingly and knowingly, God is an ever-present help. God is my guide and my strength, and God brings all the things to pass in my life in divine order through divine love. Always go back to the center of your being where God dwells. So it's reminding you that God is within, and to go within first before trying to push outwardly. Make sure you're in harmony before you take the step, whatever you're taking. Always go back to the center of your being where God dwells and listen to the voice of the divine, and you will be inspired and succeed in harmonizing all things. You will bring to pass your heart's desire. Okay, we didn't do the moving lines. Okay, so what were the moving lines in the Blofeld one? So 6 at the bottom place, it gets its tail wet, disgrace. Commentary, this implies that we do not know how to take advantage of opportunities. So it's like it's a bit of a warning each way. It's like, don't rush in, fools rush in where angels fear to tread, but also not to miss the boat. So timing is very important to get your headspace right so that you're attuned to the correct timing of things. It's a warning against tardiness. And that you should be more confident to take on opportunities that are before you. 9 for the second place. He breaks the wheel of the chariot. Righteous persistence brings good fortune. So there's that forward backwards thing again. I'm just going to read the footnotes for you, because it'll help explain. So the first little footnote is, if we get this moving line, a setback is likely to be discreditable to us. But then you get... But note that he uses his brake, i.e. our persistence must be in the form of determination to halt now and proceed later. Okay, so it's just about getting your affairs in order before you set out on the journey. It's like doing a double check before you set out. It's lifting up the bonnet of your car, or checking your oil, your water, your tyre pressure, all that sort of thing. Metaphorically speaking. You may have to wait for your green light. It's definitely coming, but timing is important. It's important to set out with the right attitude at the right time. And there may be just a little delay, maybe more than is what you think is quite right, but you've got to remember that God knows the bigger picture and has the timing all sus so that things work out at the perfect time. So you won't get... You're basically waiting for the coast to be clear, which is saying it's definitely coming up, and you will have no trouble because it told you in the first hexagram about, there's a big wagon and don't worry about resources and you'll travel fine and all of that. But it's saying it's like, okay, you're about to go, but not quite yet. It's like, just wait for your cue. Get ready and wait for your cue. Maybe there's something you need to spot before you head out because it says you don't know how to take advantage of opportunity. So maybe there's something you've missed that you need to take note of before you proceed. That's the kind of vibe I'm getting. Okay, and I'm just flashing now on this particular interpretation of this. There's a really wonderful app online you might like. It's called the Ching online. I'm really fond of it. And they have a great interpretation of this hexagram 64. And I just remember the last few lines, which is like, savor things as they are. These are the good old days. So it means when you get this hexagram 64, everything is about to change. Everything seems very stable right now. And it's like things have bloomed and reached their completion. And it's not necessarily... It doesn't have to be a physical change. It could be just like you get a promotion or, like you get pregnant or you move house but it could be a change in perspective or something. But something is about to happen that will change everything. Like life is not going to be the same. And maybe that's partly why you're being held back. Like there's a change about to take place that will change everything. And I'm going to guess by the hexagram which follows after it, number 21, biting through. Another name for that hexagram is reform. So whatever the change is, it's going to improve. It's going to be like a renovation or a reform, a correction of some sort to get you on the right track so that you can move to where these supplies are accumulated or wherever. So into your new life, basically, this wealth and success. So I'm guessing that there's this little hitch or a little setback because there's some kind of reform needed to attain the full success. But, basically the whole outcome of all of this is very positive. It's just like some kind of a little refining process, let's say, at the beginning. Something's going to happen that's going to be it's going to be like God making judgment. And whether you've been good or not, you should fear this hexagram because it's like God, it's the judge is about to decide the case. Everything's about to change because of this judgment. And yeah, so these are the good old days. Wherever you are now, everything's just about to change. So savor the flavour of this perfect moment because it's not going to be like this. And it's not necessarily going to be better or worse or anything. It's just like this situation you're in now has reached its completion, whatever it is. And that's no surprise because, at the time of throwing this hexagram, for instance, lots of people are just about to start a new year at school or university or whatever you're starting a new year at work at a new position or whatever. So you haven't quite started yet. So it's just before the change. Like once you start your new year at school, then, you're no longer a 6th grader once you're a 7th grader. Let's just use that as an example. All right, now let's do this interpretation. Did we read this? We did read that. Oh no, we didn't read hexagram 21. Okay, that's where we're up to. Hexagram 21. Oh, so we'll read from this one first. Just lost my fan over the edge. Okay, hexagram 21. Gnawing, it calls it in this one. Gnawing, success. The time is favourable for legal processes. Commentary on the text. See, that's why I was talking about judgment. But, you know, this could be just a metaphysical judgment. It could be spiritual court, something like that. Or it could be just you coming to terms within yourself, you know, like being judge and jury in your own mind about matters. But it can also be very, very literal. Take it as it applies. The time is favourable for legal processes. When something is gripped between the jaws, we speak of gnawing, and with this gnawing we associate success. The firm and yielding are separate, and the two trigrams representing these qualities are movement and brilliance respectively. Thus, thunder and lightning are brought together and emit brilliance. This yielding obtains the central position and rises upwards from the center to the lower, from the lower to the center of the upper trigram. Although this arrangement is an unsuitable one, it favors the process of the law. I'm just getting here like, it's like the fires that are happening is a classic example of this hexagram. With the fire and what was it? Thunder, movement, fire, brilliance, and beauty. So that's very much like judgment kind of thing, the whole fire thing. But that's just one example of it. So I guess that would be an example. If you were somewhere near the fires, you have to wait for the fires to go out before you can move forwards. Until you see how far the fire's burnt, how far this judgment goes, you can't actually move on to the next thing. So while it's all going down, you just have to wait for the situation to become clear and, you know, stay out of the way of danger. When something is gripped between the jaws, we speak of gnawing. With this gnawing, we associate success. The firm and yielding are separate, and the two trigrams representing these qualities are movement and brilliance, respectively. Thus, thunder and lightning are brought together and emit brilliance. The yielding obtains the central position and rises upwards, from the center of the lower trigram to the center of the upper trigram. Although this arrangement is an unsuitable one, it favours the process of the law. Symbol. This hexagram symbolises lightning accompanied by thunder. The ancient rulers, after making their legal code perfectly clear to all, enforced the laws vigorously. The time of judgment is upon us. That's what I get from that. Oh, yes. Okay. So, yes, I see. It's saying you've been given great wealth and great nourishment, and you will be judged on what you do with it too. There's a situation in flux, and you must make the right choices about how you manage this wealth and what kind of things you nourish yourself with, and then who you choose to nourish, because you can nourish the worthy, or, you know, who or what you choose to nourish. You can nourish the worthy, or you can nourish egoic lower instincts, and you will be judged accordingly. This is part of the lesson this year, is actually having the wealth and being able to squander. That's the word I was looking for. You know, you have the opportunity to squander the wealth, or to to give great nourishment, give and receive great nourishment with your wealth. And you will be judged. So I'm also getting that those who don't share enough, who are not giving enough nourishment back from their wealth, their great wealth, will be judged also. But you also have to learn with your great wealth to manage it in such a way that it's not frittered away, squandered away. Frittered, that was the other word I was looking for. You don't fritter your wealth away, nourishing unworthy projects, people, places, situations, or things. So it's a lot to learn about managing your wealth in a way that brings the best nourishment to yourself and others and the situation. And you will be judged according to how you share your wealth. So you've got to share it but not squander it. Be confident in your resources and trust in the abundance, yet not be wasteful. Okay. So the last hexagram in this book. The judgment. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, for then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success. Joshua 1:8. As you contemplate your good, know that the almighty power is backing you up, and that all obstructions will be overcome. Know that everything is working out in divine order for you. So don't be off-put by this setback or waiting at the beginning. It's all working for your good. It's part of the judgment that you wait now or go later, or there's this preparation and pit stop sort of an energy right now where you're checking under the bonnet before you move forward to your great success. And that might be something as simple as just having some sleep and a spa day for some people. For other people, it might be much more serious. And it's also about, getting your headspace right and contemplating the eternal verities so that you set out in the right headspace with your manifestation. Thus said the Lord God, remove violence and spoil, and execute judgment and justice. Ezekiel 45:9. Every action of yours must be based on right action and justice. Do not compromise with that which is right. The judgment or decision in your mind must be based on the universal law of harmony and goodwill to all. So that's a pretty strong warning about departing from what you know to be right. Okay, so I'll just throw a couple of quick cards to just give a little bit. Oh, got a jumping card there. Perception. See beyond the veil of illusion. So there we go again. It's about discernment and judgment. There's something you might need to see before you proceed forwards with your legal matter or your journey, or you're starting your new life, whatever it is. Or if it's not you, maybe somebody else needs to become aware of what you already know, but it's saying to take a closer look. Everything is not as it seems. Like, you really need to use your discernment. So considering that a lot of this was about judgment and being judicious about what you nourish yourself with, that's a very strong message. We're learning about discernment and to see beyond the veil. Don't just accept things at face value. Be ready to ask questions. You don't want to have your wealth misappropriated because somebody was wearing a mask, for instance. So yeah, that's a bit of an alert card. See beyond the veil of illusion. It implies that there are illusions around you and you might not have seen through them yet. So is it maybe once you crack some last illusion, then that's going to break the spell that's stopping you from moving forward towards your full prosperity, potentially. Although it's already saying you have much already, so, but presumably, because it's talking about moving towards success, it becomes even more. Your great wealth increases and everything, but first you have to, there's some illusion you have to overcome before you can move forward in the most harmonious way possible. So I'm not going to tell you what that illusion is. It's just telling you that there is one there, and you need to see beyond the veil of illusion. So take another look. Look at it with this eye and then that eye. Okay, we'll make it 3, shall we? Okay, another clue, please, Sage. What's important here that goes with this reading? Eternal love, and it came out reversed. Happiness, harmony, and fulfillment. So I'm just going to say, look, if it's not really making you happy, harmonious, if it's not really harmonious and it's not really fulfilling you, you need to acknowledge that to yourself. And maybe just not bringing these things that are not harmonious, they're not of eternal verities, they're not fulfilling, they're not bringing you happiness, they're not coming forward with you on the journey. I think that's just off the top of my head, that's what I'm going to go. Maybe because it's coming out with this see beyond the veil card, I'm going to say maybe you need to see something as not something, someone, some situation, some presentation, something you've been told is not all it's cracked up to be. It's not going to bring you the eternal love, happiness and harmony that you seek. And maybe once you realise that, you can move forward to something that is going to provide more of that. But yeah, so once again, we've got this whole discernment thing going on. Judgment, discernment. I think it's just going to be really important if you do have a lot of wealth to have this judgment and discernment, because of course people are going to try and want to take it from you. Okay, the battery's about to run out, so one more quick card. If it runs out in the middle of a sentence, thank you for stopping in. I hope you enjoy this reading. It's very nice of you to stop by. Please leave your comments in the comment section. Like if you like. Subscribe if you like. Feel free to pop by anytime you like. Share this with a friend if they're interested in the I Ching. Okay, last card before the battery runs out. Okay, oh, it's not that one. Come on, please, Sage, one last card. One last clue. Rising above, clarity, freedom and solutions. So whatever this difficulty is at the moment, you will rise above it. This is actually a very happy overall reading. There is a clarity coming, freedom and a solution to the issue, whatever's troubling you. I'd say that's probably connected with seeing through the illusions. Once you break the illusion, you break the spell that's been holding you back, and then you get to rise above the problem. You get to move forward to the place of nourishment and wealth and creativity. Here, life is about to change forever. That is one thing that's very clear in this reading. So, 2025 overview, lessons at hand are to do with discernment, wealth, nourishment, something that's about to change forever, and judgment. You need to trust your discernment. You need to see beyond the veil of illusion. What's not serving you, what's not making you happy, harmonious and fulfilled. See it for what it is so that you can not drag it forward, basically. And that's going to lighten your load a lot. Jettison the junk. Send it to the recycling centre. Send it to the option. Literally or metaphorically, I think. You don't need to be carrying it too much with you. This stuff is travelling very light. And I'm actually seeing that the part, that's not literally what the card is about, but I'm getting that part of the freedom and solution is in travelling light. But it's good to know that there is a solution available and judgment is coming. Everything's about to change. So get your affairs in order, not in the sense of for dying, but for living. For rising like a phoenix out of the ashes of last year, where so many people lost so much. Rise up, white and purified, light, and with perspective, a bird's eye view on all that you see. It's actually, they're pretty nice lessons to learn this year, although it can be just as challenging learning to deal with success as it can be to deal with failure if you're used, a lot of people have, imposter syndrome and self-sabotaging tendencies, and maybe also just a tendency not to believe that